players I'd like to recognize that didn't dress for the tournament. 24 guys actually played in varsity games this year, which is probably a record. Justin and Braxton both got to play games but did not dress for the tournament. Just want to recognize them real quickly. First guy, Nathan Barber. Dave was a midfielder. He had 1 assist on the season, and without question, he improved every day. And don't make the mistake calling him Nate. It's Nathan. He'd rather be called Princess. Next, freshman, Vinny Renzi. Vinny was a forward midfielder. He lettered this year. He had 2 goals and 2 assists in limited time. First game of the year against Badger, he probably only played about 10 minutes. In the game about 2 minutes and just hit a rocket from the top of the box right in the upper corner, where a lot of alumni were there like, oh my gosh. He really turned some heads then. Unfortunately for Vinny, I feel like he hit the freshman wall a little bit, which is a normal thing. Most freshmen that come into our program, they've never worked this hard at anything. And it tends to wear you out. It just happens. But I'm expecting a big thing from Vinny going forward. Jeffrey Remick. Jeff was a starting midfield, started every game as a freshman, which puts him in very elite category. In my 8 years here, there's only been 3 kids that have started every game from a freshman up. One sitting over there, Noah, and the other was Matt Pasternak, who graduated last year. So he's in very exclusive company. He had 2 goals and 5 assists on the season. His definitely biggest moment of the season would be the game winner at Champion for his first career varsity goal. He listens to his coach, ran in the box like I told him to. So Jeff lettered this year. I'm expecting very big things from him in the future. Sophomores, Jacob Droder. Jake was a defender. He was very much the leader of the JV team. I really expect him to start, to compete for a starting outside back spot next year. I really thought he improved as the year went along, and he got rewarded with dressing for the tournament this year. Sophomore, Trevor Riley. Trevor was a midfielder. He lettered this year. He's actually better known as Justin Bieber, if you guys do not know that. Trevor has a ton of talent. He just doesn't know it yet. I've told him this since his freshman year. He, at times, is the best player on the field, even when he's playing with the varsity guys. He doesn't believe that, though. I'll sit there and tell him. He's like, what are you talking about? Coach, you're crazy. So, at times, I watched him beat 5 guys and go score in the JV game. I'm like, where's this kid at all the time? So hopefully as he matures and grows up, so does his confidence. Michael Augustine. Michael lettered this year. He was starting defender for the JV team, and there's without a doubt he was the most improved player from day one to the end of the year. If anybody watched the JV games, he was the best player on the field. Vocal, a leader. I told Trevor Riley to take a penalty kick. Trevor looks at Michael. It was no doubt who was in charge. Michael took the ball, scored the ball. There's no doubt. There's no doubt in my mind that I expect him to start next year as an outside back. He's ready. He's improving. I know he wanted to be a bigger part even this year. Okay, that's how hungry he is, and it doesn't go unnoticed. Brendan White. midfielder. He started, I'd say, about half the games. He had 2 goals, 4 assists. As part of our 4-guy rotation for the outside mids. His best game actually was probably at Canfield. He had, I think, our 3 best opportunities to score in that game. Unfortunately, just missed on all 3. He has an uncanny knack to just get in the right spots at the right time. You guys notice I'm very hard on him. I probably yell at him as much. I mean, Josh will probably tell you I probably yell at him more. It's because I expect a lot of him. I expect big things from him in the future. Sometimes I forget he's only a sophomore. We are young. So I just expect big things in the future, all right? All right. Marcus Cole. All right, he's going to take 5 minutes to walk up here. His idea was to play in a men's league. Marcus had 1 goal and 1 assist. Was also first team all-conference this year. Marcus is pretty much the definition of a coach's dream. Anybody that didn't know Marcus a year ago, he was a goalie to barely a field player. Probably lost 25 to 30 pounds and became a varsity starter in 1 year. I've never seen anything like it. It's all hard work. It's all heart. It's all, I wish all these guys would work as hard as he did in the off season. We'd be unbeatable next year. So the way he filled in and played center D this year, even through injuries, as you see now, he's got a boot on his other ankle. So hopefully he stays healthy, and I expect even bigger things from him next year. Anthony Sylvester. Anthony was a starting midfielder for us. He had 5 goals and 4 assists. He was also first team all-conference. He had some big penalty kicks for us this year. He's definitely probably our best clutch player. He just stays level-headed, stays in the moment. He's very skilled. I told him before the year he might play some JV because when he's too slow, he's too short. You got to do something. Got to be either more physical, but his intelligence just makes up for all of it. He's always in the right spot, and his skill is second to none. All right, so when he's playing well, I thought the champion game, the last game of the year, was one of his best games. He got very unlucky and hit the post twice. So, Noah Busafin. Noah's a second-year letter winner as a sophomore. Started up top this year. He was an outside mid last year, so he had to transition. Transitioned very well. He had 22 goals and 8 assists. Led the team in both categories. I also mentioned he drew 8 penalties this year, which I still can't figure out how that happened. He was first team all conference, first team all district, and first team all state as a sophomore. Also the district player of the year runner-up, and he was the conference player of the year runner-up by 1 vote. So as a sophomore, to get that type of notification and those type of accolades is really unheard of. So the word's out though next year. Yeah, no more diving in the box. No, for a sophomore, anybody that watched us play, I'm probably most proud of him that he did have no cards all season, because I know that was work for him. But that's just part of him as a player. And when he's playing well, there just be times at the point of, no, you got to get going. Because when you go, they follow. And as a young player, he doesn't really see that. But anybody that watches play, know when he's flying all over the field, everybody else just falls in line. So it's really fun to watch him play. And I don't think we've had a player that can play with his pace with the ball on his foot. So expecting big things the next 2 years. Juniors, Kyle Hilty. Kyle is a midfielder. It's his first letter. Injuries really kind of held him back. He had an injury there about partway through the year. His boy Noah kind of took a cheap shot at him, so I'm sure he'll get him back at some point. But he stepped up and he was one of the leaders on the JV team. And I know he was one that always talking to me. He just wants a chance. He just wants a chance to prove himself, wants a chance to play. Ultimate team guy. Just waiting for his opportunity, and I'm sure it's going to come. Tanner Drum. Tanner finished the year with 1 goal. He really doesn't have a position because he played every position on the field this year for me. If we had an injury, I put Tanner there. It just, he filled in. His work rate really is unmatched. He just constantly goes to the point where he hurts himself or somebody else or tires himself out. Probably would have been a starter in game 1, but he has trouble setting an alarm clock and missed the ball. So he went from the starting lineup to the doghouse real fast, but his work ethic just gets him right back out of it. And when he's not missing the bus or climbing billboards, he actually is. So, Daniel Golar. Daniel's first letter, he had 8 goals, 1 assist, was first team all conference, and basically owned Asheville Edgewood, scored 2 goals in each game, and half his goals against Edgewood. He's the prime example right now, sorry Danny, but I tell him all the time to quit playing around in their bare feet. They want to go warm up before the game in their bare feet. And unfortunately he got injured and wasn't able to play down the stretch, and I know it killed him way more than it hurt any of us. So I know he's going to come back next year with something approved and ready to go. Zach White. Zach made a transition that very few could do. He's been a goalkeeper primarily his whole life, and this year I asked him to play in the field. I mean, he did some last year at the JV level, but at the varsity level, completely different. And he filled right in as one of those 4 outside mids that rotated, played very well. Finished the year with 2 saves as a backup goalie, 1 goal and 4 assists. I'm drawing a blank on which game it was. It might have been one of our home games in the stadium. He's had a goal and assist in about a 10-minute time, and after he scored the goal, he asked for a sub. I'm like, no, maybe it was after he had the assist. He's over there asking for a sub. I'm like, Zach, this is the best I've ever seen you play. You're not coming out. And sure enough, he either had the goal or the assist after he stayed on. And then by the time he came out, I almost had to carry him over to the bench. But he pushed himself to limits that I don't even think he knew he could do some of the stuff. I mean, to have 4 assists as an outside mid, if you notice, whenever he put on the right side, his service across the box was always the best and most consistent. So I do expect, and I know he wants to be a goalkeeper again next year, and I'm looking forward to what he can do to help this team in that department next year. Blake Gill. Blake is his 3rd letter as a junior. He's a starting forward for us. Had 11 goals and 1 assist. He was first team all Trumbull County. Not too many guys can say they had a 4-goal game. He started the year with a 4-goal game against Badger, which is even more impressive. Blake's biggest issue is himself, and I think he'll even tell you that. He can be way too hard on himself, to the point where we came up with a little alter ego. So in case you guys don't know, that's really Hulk. All right? So, but in all seriousness, when Blake has it together, there's no one that can match him and his passion and his desire. So I'm expecting very big things from him next year. Josh Kelly. Josh was starting midfielder. He's a 2nd-year starter, 3-year letter winner. He had 7 goals and 6 assists. He was first team all Trumbull County. Okay, Josh, if you haven't watched this play, he takes all our free kicks. directs a lot of stuff through the midfield. I yell at him more than I yell at anybody. Get out of here. You're right. But it's primarily because he sees the game so well that I feel like at times he's only watching it and not playing it. So I just would like him to get more involved. That's what I'm yelling. It's out of love, Josh. All out of love. So I definitely expect big things from him. He had a great season this year. I just want even more. That's what I am as a coach. All right. Daniel Sarko. Daniel was a second-year starter, second-year letter winner, had 1 assist. He was second team all-district this year. He was a captain as a junior. He kind of had to play a role that I don't think he thought he would have to. I think he thought he'd just play left back all year and be fine. When Cody went down, I asked him to play sweeper, and he stepped in and really played pretty well, with the exception of a couple games on that backfield that you just hate for some reason. But no, he took over Cody's role not just as a sweeper, as a captain, and really flourished and played really well. And I expect him to just step right in there and do the same thing for next year. So this is the Lakeview underclassmen right here. You guys can take Now, what this banquet's primarily about, it's about the kids, but it's about the seniors, the guys that have given so much time to this program that are now going to be moving on. So, first senior, Skylar Mulligan. Skylar's first letter, he had 1 goal on the season. It was senior night. He made the most of his moment. He got to start, he got to play, and he made the most of it. I told him before the game, I had him take a penalty kick in practice. He buried it. I said, all right, if we get one of the games, yours. Put it right up for 90. Perfect. One game started, 1 goal. You can't ask for more. Never complained all year. Was a leader on the JV team when he played quarters here and there. I mean, you can't ask for better kids than Skylar, better attitudes, and better teammates. He'll be missed. Mackie Williams. This is Mackie's first letter, starting right back for us. He ended the year with 3 assists, and he was an honorable mention all Trumbull County. Mackie, in the time that I've had him, has probably improved as much as anybody from the first time I saw him. No offense, but I never would have thought you'd be a starting outside. Did you play the first? Yeah, I didn't even see him until he was sophomore. So, it's all about work with him. No one's going to work harder. He'll tell you he'll beat you in a fight, too. We had to stop practice so he could prove that in one day. So, that's Mackie. He's going to work harder. He's going to do it. He's going to get it done. And the kids feed off that. He's a leader whether he realizes it or not, because the kids see how hard he works. They see how bad he wants it. It's impressive, and it's going to work well with him in the future in his life, that work ethic, hard work. Jackson Gagnon. Jackson finished the season with 40 saves and 1 goal. Can't forget that, 1 goal. In about 12 minutes of field play, he had 1 goal. So yes, we've had to hear about that a few times. So on senior night, I said Skylar made the most of his opportunity, so did Jackson. And then I had to hear about how I should have 2 different starting forwards. So. Jackson was a first-team all-district performer and first-team all-conference. Okay, he's also better known as Stonewall. Okay, the only kid I've ever seen where I told him to grunt taking goal kicks, and he kicked the ball 10 yards further every time. So he's got a couple quirks here and there. Pull out the magic cards before every game. He had to put the chessboard away after I beat him last year, though. I didn't see that at all this year. So yeah, he doesn't want to talk about that. But he wears a lot of hats. He also has been the lead in the play, I think, every year he's been on the soccer team. He still finds a way to only give up 13 goals, and as he tells you, 3 of those were penalty kicks, so only 10 of them counted. No, only 3. So he's very impressive. he got himself to a level of being one of the best goalies in the area after playing football as a freshman. So, in only 3 years of soccer. So, he'll be greatly missed moving forward. Will Pinkerton. Will finished the year with 1 goal and 5 assists. He was second team all conference. The fact that he had 5 assists basically in a 3-game stretch where we were dealing with injuries. I know this year didn't go quite how Will had wanted it. He put life ahead of soccer, which is something all of you should take note of. He did what was best for him, and this summer he went and joined the reserves and was gone all summer, didn't get back till after our second game of the season. And yeah, it might have affected some of his playing time, but you got to do what you have to do for life. And Will has been a great example for me on dealing with tragedy and dealing with life as a young man in a way that he's made me proud to say I coached him. So he'll be greatly missed. I feel like he's probably the best teammate you could have. He's a 4-year letter winner. And I know he's going to be missed in that locker room and on that field every day. Cody Dotson. Cody is our starting sweeper. He's a 2nd-year captain. This year he was 2nd team all-district with only playing 8 games. That shows you how much respect the coaches around this area still have for him. To only play pretty much half the season, and he still gets an all-district. He was 1st team all-district as a junior, which is why. I said it last year at the end of the Banquet, I'll say again this year, when he's healthy, there's not a better defender in the area. And anybody's at that champion game, the one play he made when we turned the ball over and the kid looked like he had a wide open shot, Cody just came from nowhere and stumped the kid. It's one of the most impressive plays that I've seen, and that's my lasting memory of Cody. Not being injured, so quit picking on him. All right. I will say, I didn't handle the injury well this year. I should have held him out probably a couple games that he wanted to play, and I might have pushed him back too soon, and I feel guilty for that, Cody. So I apologize, and I was glad you were able to play there, and it was fun to watch you guys. These 4 played in senior all-star game Sunday, and it was fun to watch them play. And yes, Jackson had a shot on goal. So these are the seniors at Lakeview this year.